Hello, welcome to a Pauper video here. We have something that's not familiar. It is a unfamiliar deck called Petal Festival. And now, Petal Festival originally was using a card that we are not using in this deck called Petals of Insight. And this card is an arcane spell, which lets you look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can put them on the bottom of your library in any order. And if you do, you can return it to your hand or you draw 3 cards. So the idea of that deck was you pay 5 mana, plus you splice Psychic Puppetry, which can let you untap a land. So that's a total of 6 mana, plus, if you have your land tapping for more than 6, you're making extra mana. You just continue to not take the cards, and you keep getting petals back, and you go infinite, make infinite mana, and then do something with it. This deck is not playing Petals of Insight because we're trying to minimize the number of things that are there as a win condition. So the way that this deck works is we have Stream of Thought as our win condition, which we basically are trying to make infinite mana and mill out our opponent. Stream of Thought lets you mill them for cards and has Replicate, and then lets you shuffle cards from your graveyard into your library. So the plan is we're going to use our deck, stream our opponent or stream ourselves, get our cards back, and keep doing that ad infinitum. So the way that this deck works is there's a thing called Arcane Splice. So for any card that's an arcane, you can splice onto it if it has splice onto arcane and do extra things. So we take cards like Reach Through Mist, which is just 1 blue to draw a card, and then you can pay an extra blue and make Psychic Puppetry part of the card. So it basically adds that effect onto that card. And then if we have Reach Through Mist and something like Utopia Sprawl, then we can make this forest here tap for multiple blue, and then you can reach Splice Puppetry, untap the forest, and then start generating mana while you're going through your deck. Now, basically we want to get to a spot where we have a forest and 3 sprawls, or we have a forest and 2 fertiles or whatever, and this is now going to tap for green plus 3 of anything. So when we're tapping for 3 blue, we can cast all of our arcane spells and splice on Psychic Puppetry. We have Peer Through Depths that looks through your top 5 cards for instant or sorcery. We have Ideas Unbound, which is just draw 3 cards and then discard 3 cards at the beginning of the next end step. That doesn't matter to us because we're not going to be discarding any cards. We're never going to get to the next end step. We want to do this all in one turn. So if I have this land here, I can Ideas Unbound, Puppetry, untap the land, and then I'm drawing 3 cards, essentially mana neutrally, or actually generating 1 green from the forest. In order to get there, we are going to be playing 8 cantrips, 4 Preordains, just maxing out on those, 2 Ponders to help look for things, and 2 Brainstorms to kind of dig deeper on the combo turn if we need to, or just kind of like filter away some extra lands and stuff. We have all these arcane spells. We have 4 Reach Through Mists, 4 Peer Through Depths, 4 Ideas Unbound, 4 Psychic Puppetry. And we have a lot of 2-cost spells, especially we have our Puppetry and our Fertile Grounds that both make our combo work. So we have 3 Muddle the Mixture, and these Muddle the Mixtures are going to serve as dual purpose. 1, it can get our combo pieces, and 2, it can try to disrupt our opponent and hopefully make us not as soft to land destruction. Now, as you go through your deck, you're going to be drawing tons of cards, so you'll end up with a bunch of extra lands in your hand, and that's where this card comes into play. This card is Flux, and it says each player discards any number of cards that draws that many cards, draw a card. So if we have 6 lands in play, we can just play Flux, discard all our lands, draw a ton more cards, and then keep going off. We also have 2 Compulsive Researches. This is an early game draw spell or late game win condition because if we get our opponent completely milled out, we can just target them and then they lose. The mana base, I've got 4 islands, 7 fetches, and the rest are forests. We definitely want an early forest if we possibly can. So that's basically the way it's going to work. I try to play fewer lands and more cantrips, but it was a little bit unstable, so we're not going to do that. We don't want to have 3 fluxes because 2 is okay, but if you have 2 in your hand, it's not very good. Just trying to be as lean as possible. In the sideboard, we have 3 blue elemental blast, 2 red blast, 3 Gigadrowse, Dispel, turn aside, 1 Echoing Truth, 3 Moments Peace, and 1 Weather the Storm. So the idea here is that these cards are kind of our, well, obviously Moments Peace is our anti-aggro, and then Echoing Truth and Weather the Storm are both things that can help us deal with hate or like deal with burn or buy some time. And both of these can be fetched with Muddle the Mixture, so that's why I'm just doing a 1 of. If your opponent brings in something like Relic or something like a Flag Bearer, you want to be able to bounce those if you can. And Weatherstorm obviously is to buy time. I'm only doing 3 Moments Peace because I can grab them with Muddle the Mixture, so I don't think I have to max out on those. But it's a bit untested. 3 blue Elemental Blasts because Pyroblasts really ruin our day, and I think Burn is going to be a relatively bad matchup. We'll see. 1 Dispel. This is kind of just a catch-all. A lot of the hate is going to be in the form of counterspells, and sometimes things like Leave No Trace, which is an instant, so we can use Dispel. We've got 2 red Elemental Blasts, and these are for any blue deck, especially things like Din Horror will really ruin our day. 1 Turn Aside. Turn Aside could be something like Keep Safe, but Keep Safe is a bit, I guess this is maybe better, I don't really know. Well, we'll go with it. We'll go with Keep Safe, but Turn Aside and Keep Safe do the same thing. Keep Safe is kind of like a cryptic, Turn Aside is cheaper. Well, I think we probably want to have the Turn Aside because it's going to help on the turn 2 for land destruction. And then these Gigadrowses are here because Fae will have infinite counters and be able to stop us. But if we can get early enchantments on the board, we can build up a lot of blue and then Gigadrowse our opponent out and then win that way. Just tap them down and go for it. So that's the deck. We'll see if we can go a positive record, and I'll see you in the games. Thanks.